Ha!
Do it.
We are live. We are. You know the breakdown comes. That ain't it right here. Huh.
I can't hear the music though.
Oh no. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me you couldn't hear the music.
No, sir.
We got to do it again then. Don't tell me you couldn't hear the music.
No, sir.
We got to do it again then. Well, here it is. Don't tell me you couldn't hear the music.
No, sir.
We got to do it again then. Well, here it is. Can you hear it now?
Nah, but it's cool. I don't want to hold us up.
Can you hear it?
Nah, I can't hear it.
That is ridiculous.
And they can't hear it on the live either.
Well,
it's cool.
Oh well.
We'll be all right.
We are live, man.
We are live. Welcome to the Money, Sex, Gen X podcast. This is season 2, episode number 6, Sex Over 40. I am your host, Mr. Eric McLoyd. I am here with my co-captain, Mr. Scott Stewart, aka Big Stu. And today we are talking sex over 40, and we have a very esteemed guest today, Mr. Dr. Dave Montgomery. We'll have a really nice conversation. Looking forward to this one, Stu.
Yeah, man, this ought to be good. I think that we got some stuff going on. If you are not catching this in real time, when we bring it back, when you get a chance to play it back, this is probably going to be our greatest episode, one of the greatest episodes that we've ever produced with our esteemed guests. And like you were saying earlier, we very rarely even hear this conversation.
Absolutely.
At all. Sex over 40. So before we get it, like, how would you even, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you describe for you personally, 10 being the highest, 1 being the wackest, sex over 40 for you?
You know what? I can honestly say that sex for me over 40 has been a straight dime, a 10. And, I think a lot of people would go on camera and be like, my sex life is good. It really has been the best sex of my life.
Okay. All right.
Crazy, man. And hey, man, I had some really good experiences when I was 20. My 30s was up and down. I was up and down. But when the 40s kicked in, it went to a whole different level, man. What about you?
I got to think about it some more, man.
Okay.
I got to think about it. Definitely my needs have changed over the years.
Okay. I'd love to hear more about that. But,
we will. Let's bring on our guest. Let's bring on our guest right now. He's coming in straight from the Southside of Chicago, although he's by way of Atlanta right now. I'd love to do this introduction. Some of you may know him as the good Dr. Dave Montgomery. Hey, listen, first of all, we don't see a lot of black doctors. No. We don't see a lot of black male doctors. And I know very few black male doctors from the South Side of Chicago that have made it into some of the spaces that this Dr. Dave Montgomery, cardiologist, has made it to. And so not only is he a childhood friend, and it is no BS, there's no BS in that statement at all, but I am in awe of who this man is. And he's a fellow Gen Xer. Let's welcome to the show, Dr. Dave Montgomery.
Yes.
Great to have you on. Great to have
that warm intro, man. You got me a little feels, man,
And I could have gone on and on and on about it, I could have gone on and on. Graduated from Julian High School, then Morehouse College grad, UIC grad, Northwestern grad, Come on, man. Come on, Johnny.
I couldn't get
baby.
enough of school, man. I just kept going. I was like, forget this real life thing, man. Let me hit some more school. If y'all got something else, let me know, man. Some other programs, I'm down, man.
Have you been on Dr. Oz? You been on Dr. Oz?
No, I've never done Oz.
You've done Steve Harvey.
That's more of a choice. Yeah, done Steve when he was in Chicago on the NBC network quite a bit. Absolutely, sure.
You've been on Headline News, CNN News. You always on Headline News.
Yeah, that's what I probably do that most. That's probably the biggest sort of national hit that I do. Absolutely.
And then you got your own TV show.
Yeah, a web series called The Good Doctor. Now, I mean, every time I say that, people say, "Oh, you're just copying off the ABC." Let me tell you something. In 2016, yeah. I came up with this title of this show. The Good Doctor on ABC didn't come into the fall of 2017. I'm trying to tell all you got to go do is look at the timestamp on my social. You'll see I got it in 2016, just so you know where it originated from. And I'm not going to change just because they got a guy walking around and healing some folks. I can heal some folks too.
And you do.
Yes.
I'm gonna fall back. I'm gonna let you jump in there and I'm gonna fall back in my Scottie Pippen role, man. I'm the co-host, so.
No,
Scotty's essential, man. Don't y'all ever forget.
Better believe it. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to get straight into it, Dr. Dave. So you are a cardiologist. I don't know if I truly understood the definition of cardiology other than what I kind of hear around. Could you give us a really clean definition of what a cardiologist is and what you do?
Yeah, I'm a heart doctor. And in my specific role, I take care of all of the things that can lead you to have major heart or vascular problems. So heart attack, stroke, high blood pressure, heart failure, kidney disease. Much of kidney disease ends up being a vascular problem. So I'm very much in tune to what the blood vessels are doing to all the parts of the body. Remember, the blood vessels, you don't have a part of your body that doesn't have a blood vessel going to it. Right. That's what I do. And I'm a preventive cardiologist in the sense that I chose to work in the realm of early detection and keeping people from having heart attacks, strokes, and heart failure. And if they have had it, because we can name some people who've had it, to prevent them from having it again. So what I always tell people, Eric and Stu, is if you're alive, you're preventing something, no matter if you had one or not. If you had one, we want to prevent it from ever happening again. If you've never had one, we want to prevent you from ever having it in the first place.
Okay. Thank you for that. That helps me out. So now that we kind of understand a little bit better about cardiology, so you have a very, I would imagine, very technical role as a doctor. What made you sort of take the leap from being a cardiologist into the media? So we mentioned you have a show, you've made various appearances. Did you feel that was important to do, or was it just sort of a natural progression for you?
It was essential, and I'll tell you, it is not natural for physicians to do this. In fact, it's dissuaded largely where we grow up as little baby doctors. They don't want you doing that, which is why I broke from the academy, and I'm not not ashamed or apologetic at saying that. What I noticed at the end of my residency, before I went into specializing in cardiology, which we call a fellowship, was what in the world is going on? As one of the only Black students in some of these classes that we take, every time we come up with a condition, guess who's at the top? And next slide, Black folks lead in, right? And you're just sort of sitting there. First of all, you got to, try to not be uncomfortable because 100 eyes are shifting over at you like it's The Simpsons or something. You know how the eyes move on Simpsons. And maybe I was hypersensitive to that. Maybe nobody was looking at me at all, but it still didn't feel good as a Black person, as a Black male, one of the only in my class for sure, but certainly in some of these classes. And it just kept, when we get down into the conditions, it says, well, Black people lead this, but this is a disease that's preventable. And I'm just like, wait a minute. And not only just Black people lead this, but hey, this is the #1 problem in America for all human beings. But we know how to prevent it. Now let's just take a step. Everybody just stop for a second. Right. It kills the most human beings on the planet, but certainly in our country. But we know how to stop it, and we know what causes it. Well, that doesn't make sense. So I had to say, well, what's the disconnect between the people who know that, me sitting in there learning it for the first time, the men and women that were teaching me that, and then the community at large, the medical and research community at large? What's the disconnect between them and everybody else? We are terrible, I've said this multiple times, at marketing. We do not market what we know to be the truth. Our brand sucks. Our brand sucks. Why? People don't trust you. That you know, this whole COVID-19 has brought that to the fore, right? Sure. You don't trust the medical community, right? You always think that, you know, we have the sense that there's always somebody's hand in somebody's pocket, and there's a financial secondary gain. And so we have a branding and a marketing problem.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what's one of the best ways to get around marketing? Well, go where people go. Okay. Don't make them come to. How many times, Eric, how many times somebody said to you, hey, E, look, let's go to the health fair? And you was like, yes, let's go to the health fair. No. Nobody wants to go to a health fair. Are you kidding me? That's the most boring thing you can think of. Our branding and our marketing sucks. So I said, where do people just naturally go where you don't have to go beg them to go? Guess where they go? TV. Yeah. Guess where they were going around the time when I really started? It's around 2008. Social media. They were just, it was just blowing up. And I said, I think that what has to happen in order for everybody to be better is for the marketing to change. And I just decided I was going to devote my skill set to getting out into television and print and radio and podcasting and social media with a message I think we so sorely need.
Definitely.
Let me jump in, man, to this topic, because we don't have a lot of time with you today, Dr. Dave, but maybe you'll come back in season 3. Let's talk about the heart and the blue pill. I remember the blue pill. Everybody, do you guys know what the blue pill is?
I sure do.
You know what the blue pill is, Dr. Dave?
Never heard of it. What is this blue pill you speak of?
I'm aware of it fully.
Yes, of course.
So
yes.
I was introduced to the blue pill at a very early age, and I didn't need the blue pill. The thought was the blue pill, which was what's damn, now the name really escapes. Viagra, man.
It's the name of it.
Half a pill in my 30s. Somebody's like, man, take half a pill, you'll last longer, right? And so that was the thing. And this was before I did the research to find out how long the average length of time sex truly occurs, right? But the blue pill and the effects on the heart, especially when you don't need. So I heard you mention recently in an article talking about erectile dysfunction is a heart condition, or a symptom, is a part of a symptom of a heart condition. Can you explain the blue pill, erectile dysfunction, and heart, and whether or not you need a blue pill or half a pill or any of that? I wake up soldiers at attention still every day. I think that's what some of my understanding is, that there's a good blood flow to that area, right, to my genitals. There's good blood flow.
Right.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy-centric topic, but I think the women who are going to watch this, it's really important for you too, especially if your partner is a guy, right? So when you wake up with sort of an erection, that is a sign and a signal of vascular health. Vascular, what does it mean? A blood vessel. Why? Because an erection is a blood vessel phenomenon. The blood vessels engorge, they dilate, engorge, and then they sort of keep that blood in them, and that's when you get an erection. So one of the signs, even at 45, 47, 50, is waking up with an erection. In fact, some men don't see that. In fact, it turns out in our generation, turns out that about half, if not more than half, have some erectile dysfunction, and that kind of goes into some of the pathology that we might be able to talk about. With that being said, erection is different than orgasm. Erection is different than orgasm. So when you say I'm taking the blue pill, and I'm gonna get to that in a second, it makes you last longer. it makes the erection last longer. And it makes the erection last longer because it releases something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the body's own vasodilator, makes the blood vessels just open way up. And that's what you want. That's what that process is. But it also makes some of your other blood vessels open up, right? And if your other blood vessels open up, you can have a headache. That's one of the big things. And your blood pressure can drop. Remember the little saying at the end of all of those commercials is, do not take Viagra because it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. And if you've never listened to that dude, you might miss it because the commercials are off the air. But what that being said is some of the guys who did that back then, Stu, I guarantee you had unsafe drops in blood pressure and passed. It was like, Red, I had a great time, but then I passed out. But you passed out. And not because it was that good, right? It wasn't like ecstatic ecstasy.
It wasn't because
right?
she knocked you out. It was the greatest.
Right. It's because you knocked yourself out. You did it to yourself. Sabotage, man. So, let's be clear, man. I mean, it is so unwise to be out here just kind of taking those. There are 3 of them now that are in use, in popular use, to be taking those without understanding some things about your physiology. In many men, it's going to be safe. But you shouldn't get, especially if somebody just handed you that. Well, first of all, Stu, where you get it from? It sounds like the wino or something. Like, where did he get it from?
Yeah.
First of all, so with that being said,
that's
2 important points.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, whole other thing. 2 important points there are don't take it without really knowing about it. Erection is different than orgasm. You can still be erect with Viagra, but have had an orgasm. And actually things change a little bit, after an orgasm.
Yeah. Dr. David, so to me, I always was confused about the fact that it would lower your blood pressure, because to me, it seems like something like that would raise your blood pressure. Have you ever heard this herb called yohimbine?
Yep.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I've taken that in the past for the same sort of reason. And my heart would be racing. I have taken the blue pill before in my 30s. I don't really remember my heart racing, but I felt like they would have similar effects on the heartbeat in your blood pressure.
No, not at all. And this is one of the primary reasons why I tell people, just because it's natural doesn't mean it's for you. Okay. Just because it's, quote, natural doesn't mean it's good. First of all, just because it's natural doesn't mean you're getting what you say, what the bottle says you're getting. Yohimbine is... It's actually one of the first things that we use to understand some of the cardio neurophysiology. Yohimbine is going to take away the balance off your heart rate. And that's exactly what it did. If you also had some GI symptoms around that time, right? You may not want to talk about that, but if you had a change in your bowel habits when you took that Yohimbine, that's because the Yohimbine inhibited a process that was helping you keep balance. So Yohimbine, I'm going to tell you right now, is not the way to support erections. Well, go ahead and stop that. Sildenafil and its cousins, tildalafil, which is also known as Cialis, are as specific as we've known so far, a way to get your nitric oxide to go up and have an erection. So totally 2 different things, and I'm not surprised that you had the response.
So the blue pill is actually safer than the yohimbine, possibly.
Yeah, well, for a number of reasons. And again, I'm not the guy, my patients know me as somebody who's going to look at the whole picture, right? So I'm not a guy who comes in and sees, I'm going to give you a prescription, but I'm not afraid to use prescriptions either, right? His prescriptions are saving somebody's life right now, like literally. There is a pharmaceutical medicine that's saving somebody's life, especially with COVID-19. With that being said, I'm the WHOL holistic doctor, in that we take everything. With that being said, when something like yohimbine comes from, you order that on Amazon, you have no idea where that came from.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with natural substances. I actually ask people to go and buy certain natural substances.
Okay.
That one right there, I would not use that one without the express written consent. No, without your doctor really looking at that to see if it can harm you. The sildenafil is purified. Pharmaceutical medicines are pure substances that have been concentrated into a tablet. I just happen to know that the PDE inhibitors, of which these medicines belong to, the class, are just going to be safer than somebody going to get yohimbine in general. Still, there's somebody passing out, hitting their head on the side of the dresser right now because they took Viagra. Literally, it's probably happening. And you could have had the best sex of your life, and you hit your head on the side, that sharp side of the coffee table, the lamp table, it's a whole different story for you. You're going into the hospital during COVID-19 because you want to take some Viagra. So,
no doubt. Yeah, thanks for breaking that down.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit in the pregame about, Stu, I didn't mean to cut you off, about, how are our sex lives in our 40s. I was talking to Stu about this. So I had taken the yohimbine and the blue pill for this short period of time in my 30s. I was having a rough time just in that relationship. It affected me psychologically. But I told Stu in my 40s, my sex life has been tremendous. I want to ask you, if you're willing to share, if you were to compare your sex life in your 40s to like your 30s and 20s, how does it rank? How does that time frame rank?
There's no comparison. I know what I'm doing.
Right.
I did not know what I was doing. And then put that on top of, I know what it's doing. In other words, I know the physiology. I know what I'm doing. I know what it's doing.
You guys
can work some magic with that. That's a 1-2 punch, baby.
Yeah. I want to jump in and ask you, because I know you got to run here, but I remember reading something like if you lose weight, you actually add inches to your penis, right? If you got a gut, for every 5 pounds you add 1 or 2 inches to your. What other tips would you give men, specifically men, if you have any, that may want to avoid any blue pills, gray pills, any pills, to enhance their sex life?
Yeah. One of the reasons why many of the men who are going to listen to this, and the women who are partners with men who are going to see this, that have erectile dysfunction, is not because the anatomy just stops working. 40 is too young, 50 is too young, even in the early 60s is too young for it to just stop working. And the main reason is a vascular problem. It is something wrong with the blood vessels that are going to the member. And so when I say erectile dysfunction is heart disease until proven otherwise, I'm telling you, if you're having erectile dysfunction and you have not been evaluated by a preventive cardiologist, you are missing the boat. And we just don't want you to be that story. Like, man, I just played ball with this guy on Saturday. Next thing you know, he had a heart attack. Yeah. So the evaluation is the principal thing. And you've got to have somebody who's looking at erectile dysfunction as a potential systemic problem, not just down there, but a potential systemic problem. Here are the things that I want people to understand. If your blood sugar is high, you're not going to have normal erections. If your blood pressure is high, you're not going to have normal erections. If your blood cholesterol has been too high, you're not going to have normal erections. If you smoke, let's take a pause. Anything.
Marijuana.
Wow.
Anything.
If you
ask
smoke
the guys.
Anything.
Ask the guys who smoke marijuana all the time. Ask them if their experience is, I smoke this marijuana so that I can have the best sex of my life.
No.
Or are they saying at 30, the guy who smokes every day, multiple times a day, if he can even do it. So number 2, whatever number that is. Number 4, don't drink. Now, so here's the other part. How many times have we been out as young kids, 20, whatever we were, we're still young till we turn 45. And I'm still young, actually. But you went out, you had a great time, you drank a lot, and you had an opportunity for sex, and you couldn't perform. That's because alcohol is a direct deterrent. I mean, it will beat the erections down. And so if you have a drinking problem, that is the reason why you can't have an erection that lasts, or you can't sustain an erection to even get started. And when you have problems like that and you don't know what the cause of them is, yeah, that's going to throw you off. Psychologically, you don't even want to do it. Not because you have a libido problem, because you don't want to be embarrassed. And that's what, right? Well, how many of these big lions, our boy, want to be embarrassed because he can't get his member up? Nobody. And that should tell you, if you're listening to this, stop tripping. There's no money in this for me. Go to the doctor.
Yeah.
That's it. Go to the doctor. And if that doctor is not paying enough attention to you, call me. And I'm going to tell you, what you have to ask them to do, or go find another one. Go shop around, find a doctor. Go hire a doctor that's going to be about this. Because diabetes, high blood pressure, and cholesterol, along with smoking and drinking, are some of the big ones. So if you want to stop doing that, get your diabetes together. Start exercising. Start eating the right things. And it's boring. You can't hit Harold's 3-4 times a week. Right. As much as we love Harold's. I grew up in the Southside of Chicago. I'm fully a preventive cardiologist, but still have a proclivity for Harold's chicken. You can't eat that stuff, man. You cannot eat that stuff over and over again. Now, if you're watching your Harold's chicken, excuse me. I'm just saying you cannot eat fried foods, of which that's one of them, every day. They don't even want you to eat it. Well, many people don't want you to eat that stuff every day. They want you to enjoy it on occasion. So just remember, if you've got problems down there, you are unfit. The idea about the size, you probably don't get more length when you lose the belly fat. What you do is you get more testosterone. If you have a gut and you're listening to me right now and it is getting out of control and you keep like, I'm gonna work on it, I guarantee that your testosterone level is lower than it was before you got the gut. There's no question. So when you say I'm fatigued, I don't even feel like doing it anymore. It is probably in part that you don't have as much testosterone. The fat itself turns the testosterone into a more female-like hormone. Damn. Therefore, watch this. Guys who get the gut in the middle, don't be mad at me, man. Guys who get the gut in the middle start to get breast tissue. Why? That's not fat. It's because the hormones, now you turn your testosterone-like hormone into a woman's like hormone. And you will very often see a guy with a gut with boobs. Yeah. Okay.
Man, boobs.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. But guess what? It's all reversible. But guess what you got to do? Go do the work. Faith without works is dead on this Sunday morning. It's still dead. You got to go do the work.
Wow.
You dropped some major bombs this morning, man.
Bombs and jewels. I want to ask you something, and I really shouldn't be focused on this, but I got to do it. I am a person who likes to drink tequila when I want to put in some work later in the evening.
Wait.
That's my special elixir when I really want to put in some work.
Yeah.
And I just heard what you said about the alcohol. Is that just in my mind that that's actually helping me, or what's going on there?
Yes, 100%.
Wow.
Let me, Eric. Let me put it this way. I'm not going to steal you. And actually, it doesn't really matter. What if you feel like you are stronger, and more successful, for lack of a better word, in that endeavor. Okay, if you're better sex when you have a tequila, who cares why it happens?
Okay.
As long as you don't overdo the tequila, and as long as you're not hitting multiple shots of tequila that will hamper some other part of your body, right? Okay. You don't want to have the best sex of your life, but then you die at 55 because you have liver disease, right? Because you drank too much, right? Man, you are a maniac in the bed, but get dead 55, right? So, and it's real. I'm making a little bit of light so people can hear me. We add a little bit of that so folks can hear us. But at the end of the day, it's unlikely that the tequila, the alcohol itself, has done something physiologic to you. It may disinhibit you. You may be a little bit more, disinhibited. You might do some things you wouldn't otherwise do with with the tequila, but it's unlikely that it physiologically caused you to do something different.
Wow. So really, I'm just more relaxed, probably.
You go. You might be relaxed, right? And relaxation is important. To hit on a point that's important for men and women. If your pelvic floor is not, we have a pelvic floor too, guys. Pelvic floor is the bottom where your anus and the muscles that contract when you have an ejaculation, where they live. They live right down up in there, okay? And men can have a tightened up pelvic floor too, just like women can have a tightened up pelvic floor. We haven't talked about women, but one of the main reasons why women choose not to have sex is because it's painful. And if they're having painful sex, and that pain is coming from the beginning of sex, right in the beginning of the vagina, right, what we call the introitus, throw a little word on you. It's just the opening. If she's having pain there, she's not going to want to have sex with you. I don't care what's going down. And it might be because she has what we call the muscles that help her have an orgasm too are just tightened up around. right? Right. There's a similar one around in our physiology. If she's all tightened up, it's not going to be enjoyable for her. It's not going to be enjoyable for you. So again, relaxing is really it. So some women can relax a little bit with a little bit of alcohol, and it's less apparent in women if they drink a little bit much in their function, because part of their function is also lubricating the vaginal canal, lubricating the outside, right? So it is not always that you can kind of tell when a woman has sexual dysfunction, but you sure can tell when a man has sexual dysfunction, right? Because it's just, we're either not doing it or we're doing it, right? So there's a lot there to unpack. But
look, I know you got to run, but I want to leave on a light, positive note. So let's go around the table. Your top sexual turn-ons for you. Dr. Dave, let's start with you.
Man, just because this will be broadcast and I'm married, it's gonna be evergreen up on Facebook somewhere, and then in 10 years when I'm running for governor, and look at this, he's a sex fiend, boom, and that's it.
Be careful.
And I don't want to put you under the bus, man.
That's what kids do.
But here's what I'll tell you. I'll tell you as I've matured, to answer that question, in all honesty, as I've matured, man, it is so cool when my wife, right, is, we have a conversation that takes us to a different place, sort of just thinking about stuff, whether we're planning some next thing. I'm a sapiosexual or whatever it's called.
Sapiosexual.
That's it. Thank you.
Sapiosexual. Yeah.
Even the doctor can be taught. It's sapiosexual, right? So that is it, man. That's it for me. So
you stole mine, man. That's what I'm turned on by intellect.
Yeah.
That's what a sapio or sapiosexual is. So the thought of having deep conversation and you allow your mind to be free and be intellectual stimulus. That's a major turn on. You took that. That's okay. All right. So you, man.
You know what, man? This might sound barbaric or something, but I'm still turned on by the visual. The visual is what turns me on. I love women with intellect. My lady is very intelligent, but at the end of the day, it's that what I see that's going to really get me going. So
there's nothing wrong with lingerie. There's nothing wrong with great lingerie.
Right.
Dr. Dave, man, I want to thank you for dropping in on us today. Absolutely. Well, I want to give great respect to your time, all the work that you do. Thank you for representing for Black men. Thank you for representing for Gen Xers. Thank you for representing for Chicago. Thank you for representing for the culture and keeping us educated, keeping us safe. Go to the doctor, man. Go to the doctor. Stop taking them blue pills from people you don't know. Lay off the alcohol. Do some exercises. Pay attention to your body. All from the good Dr. Dave. Where can we find you, man? Where can they go check you out and follow you on social media?
Yeah, the easiest way to follow me, man, all my social handles are pretty much the same. It's at the good Dr. Dave, at the good Dr. Dave. You can find all the stuff that I'm doing and more, selfies of my family and all that stuff too. If it just comes with the territory. So
it does, man. And you have and your dog.
And the dog, man, that's my guy right there, man. He holds it down. Yes, sir.
You got anything for him before he gets out of here?
No, thank you so much, brother, for coming on. It was a pleasure to meet you and get your energy and your drop some science on us today. We would greatly appreciate it. And hopefully you'll come back for season 3, which is going to be coming up starting in December, January.
We need more safe conversations like this, man.
Let's do it again, good brothers. Great to be with you, man. Take care.
Peace.
Man, what a great conversation to have.
I enjoyed that. Learned quite a bit.
Dave, man.
I realized that the tequila is not what I thought it was.
Yeah, what you thought it was. It's your mind. You just relaxing.
Yeah. Well, I'm still gonna drink it, but it's just, I know it's all something else. It's cool.
Yeah, well, that's what's up, man. I mean, one of the things I took away from that was to relax. Like,
We talked about that last week. Relax.
Yeah, I think as men, when we talk about sex, one of the things we definitely measure sex on is how long we can go.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to be a premature ejaculator, right?
5 pump chump, I think they used to call it.
5 pump chump. It's only so many times you can, say, hey baby, that was just super good. You got that wop. But at some point, you do. So how long do you do? I mean, did we even talk about this? How long does sex happen? I've watched a TV show. I'm watching this TV show right now, and this guy, he has sex with this lady, jump. You know how they do on TV. He takes her and he grabs her and he kisses her and he pulls his pants down there. You don't see him put no condom on. And he was 5 pumps in and it was over.
Right.
He's like,
busting down.
Is that reality, or is it the cats are like, nah, man, I can go 45 minutes. I go, is that like what's the reality?
That's a good question, because when I do research about sex, I always see that for the average encounter, it's like 5 minutes or something like that. I always thought that was, I mean, that's not been my experience, but wow, like that's something that in our culture, in the Black culture, that was like, you're going to get talked about. When you're young, 5 minutes, like, you know what I mean? But they're saying that's the norm, 5 to 10 minutes. I'm like, I thought it was supposed to be 30, 40, 50 minutes. You know what I mean? So,
according to a 2005 study of 500 couples, the average erection achieved during sexual intercourse lasts for 5.4 minutes.
I'm like, wow. I researched this extensively because I was very interested in that. Because I know in our culture, we don't, 5 minutes is out, but I just wonder with people, and they're like 5 minutes. Like,
wow. It does say in reality, most sexual intercourse lasts from 3 to 13 minutes.
Okay.
I want to know what the people are saying. Anywhere from 3 to 13 minutes. I know it's some guys that'll say, nah, man, I'm 45. I remember when I'm in my 20s now, bro. 13 minutes, no sir. Like,
yeah,
20s and my 20s and 30s, like.
So is 13 minutes a good run for you right now? Is that a good session for you? A good episode?
Be honest, man. Let me be honest. 13 minutes, man. 13 minutes of humping and pumping?
Yeah.
Nah, man. That's
not good enough.
Nah, I mean, I'm just going, 13 minutes.
It's a little light. I think that's a little light. I think our ladies are both younger too than us. Yeah. I think that's a little light. Might be a little light.
Now I'm talking actual intercourse, not the whole foreplay leading up to.
I'm talking, me too. I'm talking about the actual, actual factual. So,
yeah, I used to be there. I used to exceed that by a long shot. Like I say, my priorities have changed on what I need these days. I used to think that I even borderline some sort of sexual addiction.
Yeah, okay.
I needed it all the time.
Right.
Not anymore. I desire it a lot, but I don't have the same appetite that I once did, nor am I in need of a blue pill.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't need the blue pill, but I did need it for a short period in my, early 30s. My psychology was gone, man. That was the first and only time that happened. And now I was, we had the blue pill dude that we had to call and all that. It was crazy, but I didn't find that it really ultimately helped. That yohimbine that we were talking about, that actually was very helpful. But that stuff is strong, man. Yeah. That yohimbine, you got to drink a lot of water. and your heart is going to be racing.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely glad I don't have to mess with that stuff anymore. But I did have a period where I did. And I'm glad that I can admit that. I mean, I know it was psychological, but it is what it is. And I had to use it.
The only time I needed a used or any sort of enhancer was I was in a committed relationship. I was dating somebody for a while, and her appetite far exceeded mine, and I didn't really like her.
Okay.
She was sexually unstimulating.
Wow.
I needed the pill to perform because she could not get me an erection. She did not excite me enough to get an erection.
So it did help. And that's
it did, but it was still problematic because I think the point was if you're not turned on, you're not turned on as a guy, and if there's nothing there, it's nothing there. And so you take these pills and then you realize that the pills ain't even working no more because psychologically, I don't even want to be, you cool, I like you and you have a great body, and all of this, but it's something about you that is not turning me on. So this relationship is not going to even be able to go anywhere. So
yeah, man, that's a real talk right there. I don't really hear people talk about that. My situation was I was turned on by her body and all of that and attracted to her, but I was just kind of disgusted by her, who she was as a person.
And so then that's why you needed the pill.
Yeah, I was my man, psychologically, I was completely turned off to this person, even though physically attractive.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ugh.
She had the look, she had the money, she had the car, she had
everything, the degree, all that. But it was like,
I
just was disgusted with her as a person.
Yeah, her decisions.
Yeah.
And then I think
I realized that later, but at the time I was trying to get right so I could take care of business. But it wasn't no give. It was hard. It was rough.
What about so what's different for you today than 20 years ago? Let's say 25 years ago. What's different for you today than when it comes to sex than 25 years ago?
What's different? Well, I'm sure I had more stamina. Nobody wants to admit that, but stamina was definitely a better. I think I don't want to get vulgar or anything, but I have stronger orgasms in my 40s than I did I don't remember really I used to, how you watch porn and stuff, and people when they have when they ejaculate, like, it's like I might be doing that now. You know what I'm saying? But in my 20s, it was just and then it wasn't no big dramatic scene, that's a big difference for sure.
I think for me, 25 years ago, now remember from season 1, maybe even episode 1, I started the game relatively late. What I felt like was relatively late. I don't know what the statistics are, but I didn't have sex until I was 18. Something that I didn't admit until, later in life. And so, I think I was trying to hit everything.
Mm-hmm.
Anything and everything was up for grabs. Where today, I'm in much more control of what I consider even attractive.
Okay.
Like today, I see all of these women that are posting, they put so much cleavage on camera and so many ass shots on camera. But today I find myself like deleting. If that's all you offering, sis, yeah, I'm unfollowing, I'm deleting you. It's like, hey, that's not, it's so much. Nah, I'm that. Again, I see women like art, great art, and I can appreciate great art, but if that's all you showing up with, that's a distraction. So that's one of the things that's different for me. what the attraction is.
Right.
You know. And I went back and I heard the episode from a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about, you asked me the question, if I was single today, what would I be doing? And I was like, I'd be smashing buildings. I don't even think I would, man. I think as I look back, and I know it was funny at the time, but as I thought about it, I was like, I probably wouldn't. Knowing that I would have the choice is one thing, but I realized going forward, I don't have the capacity for trying to game women out of sex. Like that was the hustle 25 years ago.
Right.
You know, trying to get in them draws, you know, which ain't the same today at all.
Sure.
Bars. See them bars? See how them bars be flowing?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, man. It's a different day. I guess we're more mature, I would say. More selective. Well, I want to ask you this then. Okay, so you said just, you know, your sex life is good.
Mm-hmm.
Your interests have changed a little bit and all of that. But on a scale of 1 to 10, just on a raw score, like how important is sex to you in your life? Is it even that important? Because I'm going to tell you why I asked you this. I remember seeing this comedian. I think we talked about this before. I think it was Robin Harris before he passed away, or one of those guys. He was talking about how when he got older, he could just see a beautiful woman, and that would do enough to him that he was good. He didn't have to do the physical act. So I'm like, for you, do you still need to do the physical act, or is it just the visual good?
No, man, I have while I don't have the same appetite that I once had, I still desire sex.
Okay.
Big time. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 9. It's maybe an 8.5, 9.
So very important. Okay.
But I just don't. I just give it the backseat. So let me see. I probably am very like boring when it comes to this topic. So I still fantasize.
Okay.
I have a lot of fantasies of what it'll be like when I get to the crib. You know what I mean? Like, you know, what I want it to be. But then, you know, man, I got small kids now and I got work but I still have these ideas, these visions of, man, it'll be dope. It'll be, and then get back to work. But
it's good.
You know, yeah, man. Yeah. With my lady, you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
You know, yeah, man. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where's the priority for you? 10. How important is it to you?
It's about a 6 or a 7.
Really?
Yeah. It's about definitely enjoyable. Like I said, I mean, we talked about this in the pregame. 40 sex has been the best of my life. But it's just like you said, when you're younger, like that's just the game. Like that's your whole day trying to figure out who the next, you know what I mean? The next situation is going to be.
Yeah.
We have so many other things that we have to do. Even if it was a 9 or 10, it's just, I know it's not going to happen like that. So it's just too many other responsibilities. So, I mean, it's 6 or 7, so it's important, but it definitely has dropped down a bit on the scale.
Yeah. What about, and you know, I'm not, I got a lot of questions, bro. I got a lot of questions. And this ain't I don't know if this is the right show, even though this is our topic. We are on the Money Sex Gen X podcast. The topic today is sex over 40. Have you accomplished? Have you completed everything that you've wanted to accomplish sexually so far in your life? Are there still some things that you wish you would have done or would maybe still be open to doing? Or have you done it all?
I've done a lot, but there's a couple of things, and too bad this isn't a different show because I would like to talk about it. But you know, there's a couple of little moves I want to make, you know, with my lady, but just some kind of, like you said, some fantasy type stuff that I want to get in. But I've gotten the majority of it in, but I still got about a good 2 to come to mind that I want to get done before I get too old. You know what I mean? I want to be young enough to execute well.
Yeah.
The fantasies that I have.
Get some of your Himby.
Yeah, I might have to get the Yohimbean back out, and, tequila going. You know what I mean? And that's cool on that tequila because I know it's psychological. I'm still going to use it.
For sure.
It's just like, for sure it's going down.
It's your juice. What about knowing your lady? And I honestly don't want to put either one of our ladies on the spot because I don't want to embarrass either one of our ladies. They didn't ask to be a part of this conversation, but with respect to the fact that we both are in committed relationships, like how well do you know women today compared to how well you knew women sexually in 25 years ago?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. We're really getting into this thing. I feel like I know women pretty well. I mean, I think every man is going to probably say they do, but I will just say this. I feel like I'm more concerned about her than I am myself in these encounters. And again, I'm trying to be careful with what I say, but I'm aware. I'm very aware of her and making sure that I feel like she's getting what she needs and all of that. So I think the awareness is different. I think when I was younger, I think it was going good, but that's just what I think. I wasn't that worried about it. If it wasn't, it wasn't. But now I am concerned about that more so than back then. It was just like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's time to go. I definitely want to hear you on that too. Like with your lady, my question is a little bit different, but it's more like, are you trained in your 40s to really pick up on whether your woman is actually satisfied or not?
Yeah. My lady has trained me and continues to train me to pay attention to her and what to pay attention to.
Okay.
Something that I picked up over the years is that like your woman is like the waves on the water. And the objective is to ride the wave, like to not go against the wave.
Great way to look at it,
Yeah. So that's something that I continue to practice.
Okay.
Because that wave can change. Like, and that's just who women are. You just got to ride the wave. Like the more you go against the wave, the more resistance you create for yourself. And so just learning to just do that dance, sometimes, she may want to, be soft and sensitive, and other times she may want to be a little bit more controlling. And learning to just do that dance and be okay, not always leading. Sometimes I think has been the work that I've been doing. So yeah, my lady, when it comes to she's training me on how to pay attention to her specifically. One of the things I used to think was that all women were the same.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that that's absolutely not true.
Right.
What worked with one woman definitely don't work with another woman. You got to figure out this woman.
Right. And has it been your experience, and I'm sure I know the answers, but I'd like to talk about it, that, some women I think are easier to please than others.
Absolutely.
That's definitely a thing. It's like you deal with someone who's like, it's just a lot that you got to do before they're good. And then others, it's like, you don't really have to do as much. So that's definitely been my experience. Now, here's my burning question for you for this week. And if you don't want to play on this, I get it.
Uh-oh.
But this is going to be something kind of interesting, right? So my burning question for you this week is, I would like for you to rewind the clock for a few minutes. And I want Big Stu, age 30 years old. All right? Forget Big Stu right now. Let's go back at 30. And can we talk about, let's just act like you're that guy at 30. And let's talk about sex real quick. Big Stu, 30-year-old Big Stu. What's going on?
A monster, dude. a monster, man. You know, it's terrible because, you know, it's pretty bad as I look back and I was married. And in that, man, I was still a monster, bro.
So you were married at 30?
By the time I was 30, I was married. I got married at 27.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know, but I had side chicks.
Oh, okay. You were doing that. I got you.
Yeah, I had side chicks.
Chicks with an S.
Man.
Yeah. So you was out there killing them.
I had at 30, bro. I could call up some guys. I could round up quite a few ladies, and we would turn TF up.
I heard that.
I thought I was, man. I thought I was Superfly. I could be like, that's my man E. Go holla at him.
Right.
You know, and then E come back, man. Thanks, dude.
Right.
And then I would go home. I would go home to my wife, man. And man, at 30, I was like, it was bananas, man.
Okay.
It was crazy, man. I had
insatiable appetite, huh?
Insatiable, man. I no problems, brother. Nothing.
Wow.
Other than my indiscretions.
You know, you brought up something interesting. I think one of the things that we all liked to do when we were younger, just to feel like you were that dude, is to be able to do that. Be like, yo, that's my homeboy over there. You know what I mean? Go holler at him.
Go holler at him.
You know what I mean? Like, you got that type of influence. You can do that.
She would.
Yeah.
I remember, and I think this is this, and I'm not this dude anymore, but we talked about certain things that would turn a woman on. So, how easy it was. Like, man, it was just crazy, man. It was crazy. And I don't know if it's that women was playing me, because they knew I was married, because I never hid from it. I never hid the fact. I never told a woman that I wasn't married when I was.
Right.
But was that a thing where they just was like, I'm gonna try to treat him better? I don't know what it was for a woman, but it was a whole lot easier. You know what I mean? I got a lot of stuff out of the deal.
Okay.
I
can see you going back I can see it going back.
Man.
Time period.
Man.
Yeah, man. Okay.
I was not. My priorities was messed up, but
yeah.
But when it came to that, I was the man.
Okay. So it seemed like that.
We did some things, man. What about you? Let's go back to E Mac. I don't know what they call you back in they just called you Eric, or was you E Mac?
Man, they used to call me Little E.
Little E.
E Love.
E Love.
E Love. That was probably the biggest one. Well, Love.
What was you on? There he is.
Man.
And look, before I want to just shout out my dude right here. My dude right here. Let me see if he's gonna come up. Do you see it? Do you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Me and him got some stories. Some stories.
Wow. That's what's up, man.
Shout out to Khalil Wells, West Philly, in the building right there.
Okay.
All right. So what was you on, man?
Oh man, in my 30s, I was married. I wasn't on nothing.
You gonna leave me out there to dry like that?
No, what? I mean, hey, my wildest time, I gotta keep it a buck. Like, my wild times was when I was in my 20s, man. Like, damn. When I was in my 20s, I was pimping Ken. I mean, it was just a different. Like you said, like, my mentality was just different. It was like we were held to a standard of how many women you could get and all that. And I was into it. It was fun. But in my 30s, I was married. I wasn't doing nothing. And I don't really know that helped anything. I mean, this is bad to say, but I actually think we would have had a better relationship if I did have side chicks. I mean, that's not something that I think people would say, but I think that, because the thing is, it's like, and I got to be careful with this, but it's like sometimes when your woman has to satisfy all your needs, that's tough, right? It's tough. So I think during that time, if I'd have had a couple side chicks, I probably would have been able to relax a little more and not put much pressure on that person, on that woman. So, but I wasn't on that, man. And honestly, that's probably one of the worst periods of my life in terms of sex. It was a bad period. Early 30s wasn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to hear you had a good time. And
yeah. I think again, if we're comparing our stories, so in my 20s, I was, I was just getting started. So I was caking, when I dated one chick at a time, whatever. I guess there were a couple of instances where I dated and, had something on the side, but for the most part, I was thinking that I was looking to get married. I was looking for a wife in my 20s, that's because, I'm how I was raised. Like, you wait to have sex, you really should wait till you get married. That was really how I literally was taught that.
Right.
Don't have sex until you get married. Well, I didn't make that, but then it was like, oh man, I guess I got to be looking for. I was in committed relationships as I dated, although had some girlfriends.
Right.
I did some things, but I was still trying to look for. And then when I got married, and so this is part of that conversation. It's like, for some reason, I always be tripping. I always wonder if women use sex to lure you in, and then once they get you, then it becomes like, I ain't have to have sex with you. Like, I get to decide. But it's like, but we was dating though. You let me hit it whenever and wherever, and you did all kind of stuff. You wore everything. Like, now we, married or whatever, and it's like, what happened? Like, did you get bored or something? It's like, okay, well, you're not interested. Okay, well, I know somebody who is, and
yeah, no doubt. You know what? I want to talk about that for a minute. So that has not been my experience. I think the thing that has kind of made the distinction between the experience has just been the psychological, like my actual relationship with the person. Mm-hmm. But I always hear men say that, and I know it's a real thing. It's like when they get married, the woman decides, whatever, their priorities change, but the sex is just not as frequent. I have not had that experience at all, but the psychological piece has been where things got dicey for me. Where, because sometimes people change up. They're just how they act in general when you get married. And that affects me. It affects everything for me.
I want to know from the people that's listening and watching what their opinions are about how sex changed for when they were free and fly to when they got into a committed relationship. So let me ask you then, E. So I remember I had a guy tell me right before I got married. It was like a year before the wedding, before I got married. He was like, drop a quarter in a jar every time you have sex before you get married. That year, drop a quarter in the jar, and then when you get married, take a quarter out every time you have sex.
Okay.
And see what's left. So I didn't physically do it, but I saw, when I thought about it, it was like I would have had a lot more quarters in that jar.
Yeah.
It was like before, it was like, man, dropping quarters in. But after the marriage, it was like, damn, it's a lot of quarters left in that jar. You would think that it would be no quarters left. Like, you haven't, but no, it changed, it slowed down. And you're talking about at a period of time when I think I wonder if I've hit my sexual peak in my 20s, 30s. I think I have.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think I've hit my sexual peak
Okay.
Because I needed it so much.
Yeah.
I needed it so often.
Okay.
And to the point where if she wasn't gonna give it to me, I was gonna go get somebody else. But today is not quite that. It's like, well, shit, I got work to do, baby. I want it, but if I don't get it today, I'm not, needing to masturbate. I'm not needing to go watch some porn or go check out some other chick or call somebody. It's like, it's different. It's just different.
That's a good point. That's another difference that I would say. Like, yeah, when you in your 20s and 30s, if you can't get it right when you want it, you masturbating and all that. Like, I'm not doing all that now.
Yeah.
And it's like, you either get it or you don't.
Yeah.
But that's a big difference. Now, I want to touch on this, and everybody out there, this is the Money Sex Gen X podcast, episode 5.
Episode 6.
I don't know why I struggle with an episode. For our final episode, I'm always one behind, so that's good.
It's a good season.
6.
Episode 6. Season finale is next week. Our season finale is
next week. I want to talk about this before we get out of this conversation. I want to talk about, without us being vulgar, but I do want to talk about this sexual variety of sexual positions that you are utilizing in your 40s versus that time you talked about in your 30s and 20s. Is there a difference in the number of positions?
Yeah. Not as many for sure.
Okay.
And I'm working on definitely, because I don't want to put all my shit out there, man. But just making sure that we keep that the variety is kept.
Gotcha.
Right. And so I tend to be a pretty spontaneous brother. Let me say that.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty spontaneous. That's important to me. So, we talked a couple weeks ago about the Buffalo Wild Wings and the Giordano's pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to make sure that I'm able to enjoy my Giordano's pizza for the rest of my days without losing the desire for the taste of it.
True indeed.
So for me, that means if I have to go a few days without eating it, and just to be able to appreciate and enjoy it when I do, no pun intended.
No doubt. Great answer. Good job. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
What about you? And variety. That was a great way to put it.
Yeah, man, the variety. So let me be careful as well. So same answer, the variety. It's a little different. It's a little less variety.
Yeah.
But I still employ a few. What's a good word? I try to employ a sufficient number. I'll put it like that. I'll leave it there.
Can you sense patterns? Do you know when it's like, do you find yourself only engaging on certain days, or does it not matter? Is it a signal that is sent out? Do you look up in the sky and get the bat signal? Is there a touch? Is there a word? Is there something so you know that it's time, or is it just it is when it is?
Yeah, that's another thing that's different in the 40s. It's so like the schedules have to align, and it's got to be a perfect storm.
Damn.
Almost for us to be able to have that window to have that enjoyment, man. It's not, when I was younger, it's like, man, any time that's the right time. Now, everybody looking at their phone, and I gotta do this call, and this person is tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I can share this. Like, I still enjoy middle of the day when I just in my Biggie Small voice, creep up from behind. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just like, I got some crazy visions. It's just like, oh, what's this? Oh, let me call you back. But that's what's in my
those visions are important, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's good, though. That's good.
Try to enjoy it, man. Definitely. But life has changed, man.
Yeah, it has changed, and it hits you so it changes so fast. It's like I remember we talked about this before, but like I remember being 23, 24, like it was literally yesterday.
Yeah.
And now I'm almost 50 years old. That's crazy, man. But it's good to hear from Dr. Dave. He was kind of suggesting that people can get busy all the way into their 60s.
Yeah. Without the blue pill.
Without the blue pill. So that's encouraging. I was happy to hear that.
Yeah, guys, it's a lot of cats in their 40s and 50s that have these massive guts.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, definitely get your workout on, fellas, man.
Yeah.
As soon as you start the workout, you're gonna get some more energy. You're gonna feel better. I know a lot of cats that will FaceTime blunts and joints and do it all day. So to hear that, smoking anything prohibits good sex.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. I didn't know that if you were smoking like a blunt or a joint or something, I didn't know that inhibited people sexually. I never knew that.
Yeah, man, you learn something new every day. I didn't know either. I thought, hey,
thought it helped.
Have you a shot of this, and whatever you do, it enhances the experience. But yeah, it was good to have Dr. Dave on to help us understand the relationship between the heart and an erection and how to perform healthier,
No doubt.
Good stuff, man. So
do you feel like you have a lot to look forward to as your 50s draw near sexually?
Yeah, man. Absolutely, man. I'm so excited about my future. Just the possibilities, man. Of really like stepping into the reality of my dreams and visions and fantasies, man. I want to bring them to life, man. So I can see myself at 60, on that 60-foot yacht anchored in the Mediterranean.
Absolutely.
With my lady, and we both fit and fine, and
no doubt.
and having sex in the middle of the sea. Like doing whatever, like
that's sexy. That's something that me and you never talked about, but that's one thing that I'm thinking about doing now. Buy like a larger boat type of situation. That's some cool stuff to do.
I don't even have to buy it. I just need it for the day.
Yeah.
The captain is out there. I got somebody for the captain to keep his mind occupied, so he ain't worried about what's happening over there. I ain't into the voyeurism and all of that, but but I'm on the I got some fantasies, man. I got some
moves,
bro. Yeah, man.
No.
I'm still working on. I don't have a 6-pack, but I'm working on getting one, and I expect to have one I know it's like, no, I want it that bad. Like, I'm working on it, bro.
Sure.
I expected, like, damn, man, when he was down in 50, he had that little gut, and he's 60, he got a 6-pack. Like, yeah, straight up.
Yeah, I can feel it. I mean, that's one of my fantasies, fam. Like, I want to be in best shape of my life.
Yeah.
In the next year or two, you know what I mean? And I've had periods where I was in really good shape, but I'm trying to be in the best shape of my life. And it's going to be challenging because, like we've been talking about, our lives are just different. But I know I can do it. I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah, we got cats like, I don't know if he's still on here, but Khalil, my man Wells, man, we used to, man, do up life big time, and he got up to 300 pounds, man. He at one point had to buy 2 plane tickets to get on the plane. Dude, one of the fittest dudes that I know today. He even owns his own gym where he does HIIT training. Man, this dude got 6-pack. Man, this dude lean. So for him to go from that over 300 pounds in the gut to having a 6-pack, I already know. And he ain't no steroids. He not doing no roids and nothing. He eating and putting in that work. And I'm like, okay, Wells, I see you. Okay, Khalil, I see you.
Little fit culture, no doubt.
Yeah, stayfitculture.com. I know he's not our sponsor today, but I just threw that out there.
Okay. That's what's up.
Absolutely, man.
Inspiration for me for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Man. So what else?
We got a couple of more things to get into here.
You have what you got up next, man?
We got our characters from corporate. We're gonna dive into that real quick. So if you got any new MSG family out there, we do this characters from corporate segment where we ask people to send in stories about people from corporate in different situations. Sometimes it's people, they'll send a story and they ask for our advice. Other times they're just trying to, vent a little bit and tell us what's going on. So this particular story is coming to us from, this person is from the Bronx, New York. She is 32 years old. She doesn't want to give her name, which is fine. We don't need the names. And she says that she is working currently for a woman who is a large life insurance salesperson agent. She has a really big book of business, and she's a multi-million-dollar insurance producer. And our person here, they're an assistant. Now, this person that she's working for, they're both the same age, so they're both 31 years old. Okay. And her what she really wanted to tell us is this. So she says, I'm working for this lady. She's a multi-million-dollar insurance producer. We're out in the Bronx area, but the office, we both are from the Bronx, but our office is out in Queens. And I've been working for this lady for about 18 months now. She has me doing a variety of different things, administrative tasks, scheduling appointments, contacting insurance companies, et cetera, to move forward the applications. But anyway, recently, she's been asking me to do some really strange stuff, things that she hasn't normally been asking me to do, like booking flights, booking appointments for her children to go to the doctor, things of that nature. I went along with it, but last week she asked me to get her some water. Okay? Yeah,
some water?
And it's like, yo, get her some water. Okay, so the thing about the situation is number one, the fact that she asked me to get her some water, but number two, there's a small refrigerator right next to where she works, where she could literally bend over, open the refrigerator door, and pull out the water. And her question is, am I tripping here, or is this woman a character from corporate? She wants her to get the water.
Dang.
Wow. Now, me personally, I wouldn't get the water. So that's me. That's just me. So I wouldn't get it. I don't know if you got it and you're just trying to figure out, like what's up. But would you get the water, Stu? Get the water. You're her assistant now. I mean, you are her assistant. It's not like you're the co-owner of the company. She wants you to get her some water.
Damn. I'll get the water.
You would get it? Okay.
But obviously I'm gonna wear everything I feel about getting the water on my sleeve.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be a conversation later.
So you would, in the moment, you would go ahead and get it and then deal with it later.
I'm gonna grab this water.
Okay.
She gonna feel it. I'm gonna grab this water. Grab the water.
Okay.
Probably just like I'm answering this question is how I'm gonna grab that water.
Gotcha. Would there be some repercussions?
It might be a conversation later. I won't say repercussions, but it's just like we may have to have a conversation a little bit later. Like,
okay,
what's up? Like,
that's a professional way to handle it.
Yeah, you mean like what's happening?
Right.
How do you see me? Where is that what you diminished our relationship to? Like you could lean over and get water. Like, how do you see this? I know I'm your assistant, but like water? Like you could literally
now.
You called me to get water?
Yeah, and why now? I mean, it seems like this just started. So something happening. Like, why?
Yeah, what's up? Like, hold up, come on now. It reminds me of before remote controls. My dad calling me from another room to change the channel.
Well, yeah, we've all had to do that.
Yeah, but you ain't and you can lean over and get the water. Like I
did do.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was a control tactic too.
Yeah.
That was so it reminds me of that. Is this a control tactic? Like get the water?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions.
Right, not when it's right next to you. I think that's the part. It's like get water, but when there's a refrigerator, a cooler right next to you, we can lean over and get it. Like,
yeah,
what's this about? Like, what is that? What's happening?
And I'd like to know a little more information. Is there a dude involved some kind of way? Not that a man always has to be involved or a woman, somebody else involved in the dynamic that we don't know about, something. So
she's not tripping. This person, you're not tripping. You're not tripping. You got a very, very valid point. He's not getting the water.
No, I wouldn't.
I'm getting the water, but we're gonna have to talk about it in a minute.
Yeah. I know me in my 30s, I wouldn't have got it. I would get the water now quicker than I would back then. Back then, I damn sure would get it.
You understanding your role on the team a little bit more today, huh?
I might be like, let me go ahead and get this water. Yeah. Back then, I ain't gonna front. I wouldn't have got it. So that would have been my last day, probably.
Yeah. So no, you're not tripping. You're not tripping.
No, you're not tripping. Definitely a character from corporate. So hang in there. Thank you for sending in your story. Hopefully that allowed you to vent a little bit.
Absolutely.
And for you, everybody else out there in the MSG family, send us your stories. We got a lot of East Coast people sending in stories. I want some Midwest.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you're getting these stories, man. Your people sending in stories, man.
Yeah, man. So I want some Chi-Town, Indianapolis stories, and Columbus, Cincinnati. Where y'all at, man? Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, what else we got? We got so we're coming up on the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Our season finale is next week, Sunday.
Man. Next Sunday. Are you a sucker for not protesting? And we have a special guest next week as well. Her name is she goes by Marilyn the Chef. Check out Marilyn on Facebook, Instagram. She's doing a lot of good work around nutrition, but she's also a very vocal, I would consider activist, but I want to get her take on that. But she's a New Yorker let me get this right. She's from the Bronx and lives in Brooklyn. It's going to be a lot of great energy. She's going to be raw and give it to us. But we're going to get into that. There's a lot of people protesting, but if you didn't, are you a sucker?
Did you protest, bro?
I did not protest. No, I did not. And I don't. Well, I'm not going to get into my.
Yeah. I did not. I don't want you to answer that question.
We're going to get into that next week. I want to know, did you protest, though?
I didn't protest. I didn't protest in the way that I think the question is. I wasn't in the streets with picket signs, throwing bricks and rocks at the police or looting or adding to any of that. No, I didn't.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. I know we're running out of time, but that's the thing with me. We'll get into this more, but I feel like I'm protesting every day just in how I live my life. But we're not going to get into it.
Yeah. No, I don't want to give away our sauce.
We'll do it. We'll do it next week.
Give away our sauce. But I do want to, I think what we have next is we're supposed to be highlighting an artist from Pool.
Yes. Do it.
So
like that.
I know we couldn't get the sound right a minute ago. Hopefully we can get the sound right today. I want to highlight an artist, one of my favorite artists on Pool. His name is Gino Pacino.
Before we do that, Big Stu, we need to talk about this, man. You're too modest, brother. This brother, Big Stu Scott Stewart, has a media streaming platform
I'll come through.
And if you didn't know that, he's so modest and humble. He probably didn't even tell you that, even though you probably see it on his social media. So this brother has founded this with a few other individuals. Co-founder of this with some other people, man. He has a music streaming platform. There are some great artists on this platform. I'm a music lover. So when Stu and I connected, I immediately went on there. Let me tell you, there's some great artists on this platform. If I understand this properly, Pool is a platform for newer artists. Is that correct?
Yes, new and emerging artists is how we describe it.
New and emerging artists streaming platform. I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot of people who have a music streaming platform. Musicspool.com. Go on there and check out some new and emerging artists.
Yeah.
And if you are an artist, upload some of your tracks on Musicspool. It's a great place to reach a new audience.
Yeah. Thank you for that, E. And I do play it humbly because I think, I don't even have to get into that. I do play it very humbly. Shout out to Philip, Sandro, and Christian over in Bosnia-Herzegovina, alum of Genius Lab, for building this platform and making it a global entity. It is a global entity. So having said that, hopefully, let me just test. Do you hear any sound? Can you hear anything?
Yeah.
Yes?
You'll hear it, yes.
Okay, good. So this week we're going to just check out a little bit of one of Pool's best contributors to the platform.
Okay.
Guy by the name of Gino Pacino. He just launched a new song last week called Prayer.
Gino Pacino, Prayer.
Pacino, Prayer. Let's check a little bit of it out.
Let's do it.
We're not going to do the whole thing because I want you to go to the website to hear the full song, but let's check out a little bit of Gino Pacino. Prayer.
Pray for success, cause success is what I had to be. Pray for success, cause success is what I had to be. As I grew up, I watched you put that dope in your veins. Hurt, pain, cocaine. You placed before me. Promised myself there was something that I never be. Can't grieve. Promise my kids that I will never leave this earth before I leave legacy in your hand. Promise myself to myself as a plan for success, cause success is what I had to be. Pray for success, cause success is what I had to be. Nothing gon' come to a nigga not willing to change. I made this album with my last profit, enacted, concocted a plan that had me on page 1 of the docket and came.
All right, that's Gino Pacino, man.
I like that. That was hard. I like that one. Gino Pacino, I'm about to go check him out on
yeah, I like what he's talking about on there, man. Praying for his success. Prayer. He's a deep brother. I like him a lot. Okay. And I'm sure you'll like him as well. So
he's from the Chi, right?
He is from the Chi, man. The Chi man got great music, man. It's not local, man. It's Chicago.
Yeah, no doubt.
See how them bars be flowing, E, man? See how them bars, it ain't local, it's Chicago. You know, see how bars, bro. They just natural for me, man.
No doubt. Man, this has been a great episode. We got a lot in a relatively short period of time. We are almost out of time. But thank you all for tuning in today for our Sex Over 40. We had Dr. Dave Montgomery on, a close friend of Big Stu's. Great conversation. We will see you all again next week for our season finale of season 2, episode 7. Finally got it right. Are you a sucker for not protesting?
Wow.
We'll get it in tomorrow, next week, 11:30 a.m. We will see you all then.
Thank you for joining in. Peace.